welcome, I'm the LegendaryPokéMaster, and today we are counting down the top 5 possibilities as to what the next Pokemon games may be. Will they be on the Switch, or the 3DS, or this? I like this. Doesn't work, though. But today is a special video because we are joined by a guest. Meet ThePokéRaf.
Hey, what's going on guys, my name's Raf, and today I'm teaming up with the Legendary PokéMaster to discuss the top 5 theories as to what the new Pokemon games may be.
I also did a video with ThePokéRaf on his channel, and we will elaborate upon that later in the video. But without further ado, let's start. Number 5, Pokemon Red and Blue remakes. These are a possibility for future games that people don't really come up with that much. It's actually been a long time since both Generation 1 and Generation 1 remakes, those being Fire Red and Leaf Green, were released. Those were on the Game Boy. Yeah, that kind of makes it justified, as games on the Game Boy Advance have already been remade in Ruby and Sapphire, and thus now would be a great opportunity for that. This would also follow the pattern that I discussed is present in the remakes. That is that the remakes become available on platforms that can't play the original games. This was the case with all of the remakes except for Fire Red and Leaf Green, unless you want to count that Game Boy that no one has but I want, but it's like $100. Anyway, it would be good to see a 3D Kanto game, but it would be kind of odd to start off the Switch with a remake. And if they were to remake it on the 3DS, then that would disrupt Generation 7 and deprive it of its Diamond and Pearl remakes. Oh wait, I just spoiled a future thing on the list. Ignore that. Anyway, that's why I am putting Red and Blue remakes at number 5.
Coming in at number 4 on the list are Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes. Based on past patterns of Pokemon video game releases throughout their history, a remake of the Generation 4 games would technically be next. There are many reasons for it. They could enhance the underground multiplayer cave system, which was quite a unique idea that they have never repeated. Alongside this, they could add new online features to replace the horribly annoying online center you would have to go to in Jubilife City, and make some enhancements to the story, pacing, and environments, which in Sinnoh are arguably the best criticised throughout all generations. Such a game seems likely, however at this point we have a conundrum. The Switch came out. Oh boy, Nintendo, I don't know what you're playing at. If Pokemon were to release Diamond and Pearl remakes to the Switch, they most likely would not be able to communicate with Pokemon Sun and Moon, thus ending Generation 7 with only 2 games in it. If it were released for the 3DS, Nintendo would have one less title to boast about for its new system that is already criticised for a lack of games. So, what will Pokemon do? Well, when we look back at the release of Generation 5, the same problem was present, being that the 3DS launched halfway through the generation. In this case, they skipped remakes in Generation 5 and remade Ruby and Sapphire in Generation 6, known as Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. The same is probably likely for Diamond and Pearl remakes, especially considering the 3DS can now play the original Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and thus lessening the needs for remakes.
Number 3, a spin-off game. Here's one no one really talks about because it's a spin-off game, and who likes those totally? I guess this counts on the list because it's technically a Pokemon game. But anyway, there's a wide variety of options for a spin-off. They could remake Pokemon Snap, which I really want, with the Switch seeming more likely as a platform for that due to the one screen that the N64 shares with it, which would make porting of certain features easier. They could also make a new 3D battle-focused game as they have with every home console since Pokemon started. There's Stadium, there's Coliseum if you want to count that, Battle Revolution, and Pokémon Tournament. Considering the volume of these, they kind of seem likely, but just like a Red and Blue remake, it would be odd to start off the Switch with that, so that's why I'm hanging it back at number 3.
Number 2, the Pokemon Stars theory behind a Switch exclusive. This is the first theory of what the alleged Pokemon Stars game is, that being it is a Switch exclusive addition to the mainline games. Rest assured, this game is definitely going to happen at some point, as every Nintendo handheld discounting the imposter handheld, the Virtual Boy, receives a Pokemon game. And the Switch, its big thing is that it's basically a handheld. However, we're not sure if this will be the very next Pokemon game, as if this was the case, they would need to make it separate from Generation 7, effectively having 2 generations running simultaneously unless a way for the 3DS and Switch to communicate is present, or ending Gen 7 short like we mentioned earlier. However, a way to do this is releasing a certain version of the game on the Switch and another on the 3DS. Yes, I know this is kind of cheating in terms of the title Switch exclusive, but they call Mario Kart 8 Deluxe a new game, so why not do it for a new Pokemon game as well?
Number 1, the Sun and Moon successor, which might also be called Pokemon Stars. Yes, I hang on to the basically long-lost belief that Pokemon will someday release follow-ups in the generation once again. I know at this point it's like waiting for Lord Gaben to release Half-Life 3, but I still have determination. It's kinda useless, honestly. If you really think about it, this pattern actually isn't too disrupted. It's just that we've gone 5 years without such a game, making it seem like something Nintendo just ditched. Only Generation 6 didn't have follow-ups to their title game, X and Y, and it's still obviously the beginning of Generation 7, a time where an opportunity for Pokemon Stars to be a third enhanced title is not really quite present yet. Considering this pattern is arguably one of the most reliable in the entire Pokemon universe, and that Marshadow is seeing a release soon probably, hint at Pokemon potentially revisiting Alola. But those are our picks. Obviously there are more possibilities and other opinions to our ranking, so what do you think? What is most likely for the next Pokemon game? Please leave a comment down below. Also, a massive thank you to ThePokéRaf for coming and joining me on this list. He does extremely high quality Pokemon videos, and I've personally been subscribed for a long time, so definitely be sure to check him out.
Thanks for having me on your channel today, Austin. And remember guys, we did another video on my channel discussing the top 5 mysteries in Pokemon Sun and Moon. We highly encourage you to check it out, as there are some interesting ones that you may have been wondering about as well.
While you're here, you could also subscribe to see videos like this twice a week if you're new. Regardless, Marasmus has arrived, and I will see you in the next video.